Tomatoes feel like the most harmless food on earth. Sliced onto sandwiches, blended into sauce, barely a second thought. But for nearly 200 years, much of Europe was terrified to eat this fruit at all. Grown only to be admired, never eaten, quietly labeled the poison apple. Scientifically, the fear wasn't entirely crazy. The tomato belongs to the very same plant family as deadly nightshade, one of the most poisonous plants in Europe. And the reason people who did eat it sometimes got sick wasn't the tomato at all. It was the aristocracy's own pewter dinner plates, laced with lead that leached out under the fruit's acidity. Nobody figured that out for 200 years. How did a completely harmless fruit get blamed for poisoning a continent, hide behind a deadly look-alike, and take 2 centuries to clear its name? This is the history of the tomato. Long before Europe ever saw a tomato, it was already a staple food across Mesoamerica, cultivated and eaten by the Aztecs, who called it tomatal. Spanish conquistadors encountered it in the early 1500s and carried seeds back across the Atlantic, alongside countless other new foods from the Americas. The tomato's scientific classification didn't help its case. Botanists placed it in the same family as deadly nightshade and mandrake, plants that had been used throughout history as poisons and hallucinogens. Its Italian name, pomodoro, and French name, pomme d'amour, hinted at fascination, but many physicians still classified it as suspicious, even hazardous, to eat. Adding to the confusion, tomatoes ripen into a deep reddish hue, strikingly similar to some genuinely poisonous nightshade berries. To an untrained eye, exactly the kind of thing you'd be told to avoid. It gets even stranger. Here's the twist almost nobody knows. Wealthy Europeans ate off pewter plates rich in lead. Tomatoes are highly acidic, and that acid pulled lead right out of the metal. People who ate tomatoes off those plates sometimes did get sick, but it was the lead poisoning them, not the fruit. Nobody made that connection for 200 years. Meanwhile, poorer families across southern Europe, eating off simple wooden and ceramic dishes, had been enjoying tomatoes safely in their cooking for generations. No ill effects at all. What happened next changed everything. By the 1700s and 1800s, tomatoes were steadily working their way into everyday European and American cooking, as the old poison reputation slowly faded. According to a popular story, though historians still debate how much of it is true, an American man named Robert Gibbon Johnson supposedly ate a tomato in public in 1820 to prove, once and for all, that it wouldn't kill him. Today, the tomato is one of the most eaten foods on the planet. Pizza, pasta sauce, ketchup, salads. A fruit nobody thinks twice about. And here's the final twist. In 1893, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled the tomato a vegetable, not a fruit, purely to settle an import tax dispute. Even though botanically it has always been a fruit. Feared as poison, grown only to be admired, and finally legally redefined by a courtroom. This one fruit has had a stranger legal and cultural journey than almost anything else on your plate.